Aunt Linda walked right past me at my own wedding reception and went straight to my sister. "Vanessa, darling, you look stunning. That dress is incredible. You should have been the bride." My own mother laughed and nodded. At my own wedding, I was invisible. But not for long. My name's Natalie, and I'm 26 years old. I worked as a software developer. Quiet. Focused. The boring one in a family that lived for attention. My sister Vanessa was the star. The one with the followers, the brand deals, the designer bags. She had over 200,000 people watching her life unfold online. I had my laptop and my code. My parents compared us constantly. At holidays, they'd show off Vanessa's latest sponsored posts. At my college graduation, my dad spent the whole dinner talking about Vanessa's new skincare partnership. When I tried to talk about my projects, my mom would smile and say, "That's nice, sweetie," then change the subject. They called my work nerdy, unsexy, practical. I wasn't the one with the glamorous life. I didn't have thousands of people double-tapping my photos, but I had something they never saw coming. And on the day I married the love of my life, they proved exactly who they were. If you've ever been pushed aside by family, subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from. Because what happened next changed everything. I married James on a Saturday in June. He's a teacher, kind, patient, the sort of person who remembers your coffee order and leaves notes in your lunch bag. We met in college, and I knew by our third date that he saw me. Really saw me. The venue wasn't huge. I'd planned everything myself. String lights wrapped around oak trees, wildflowers in mason jars, a small band playing acoustic covers. It was perfect. Or it should have been. My family showed up 20 minutes late. They missed half the ceremony. My mother waved from the back row like she was at a casual brunch. I tried not to let it sting. Then the reception started. Vanessa arrived in a white-sequined dress that caught every beam of light in the room. It wasn't technically a wedding dress, but it was close enough. People turned to look. My aunts rushed over, gasping and hugging her. Cameras came out. Not for me, for her. My cousin Kyle was the first to say it out loud. "Honestly, this venue is kind of budget. Vanessa's birthday party last year was way nicer." My mom laughed softly. "Well, Natalie wanted simple. She's always been practical." The way she said it made my chest tighten. Like practical was code for less than. Then my father stood up to give a toast. I thought, finally he'd say something about me. He cleared his throat, raised his glass. "We're so proud of both our daughters," he said, smiling wide. "Especially Vanessa for her recent brand deal with that wellness company. Really incredible stuff." He sat down. That was it. No mention of my wedding. No mention of James. No mention of me. I stood there next to my husband, holding his hand, trying not to cry. And then Vanessa stood up. "I have some exciting news to share." The room went quiet. She held up her hand, showing off a diamond ring I hadn't noticed before. "I'm engaged." The room exploded. People screamed, rushed toward her, pulled her into the center of the dance floor. My mother burst into tears. Happy ones. My father hugged Vanessa's fiancé like he'd just won the lottery. James and I stood alone by our own wedding cake. No one even looked our way. I tried to pull myself together. I told myself it was fine. It was my day. I didn't need their validation. But then my mom called everyone over for family photos. I walked toward the group, smoothing down my dress. "Oh, we already took photos with Vanessa," my mother said, without looking at me. "She looks so good today." My Uncle Rich grinned. "Let's get one with just Vanessa and her fiancé. This lighting is perfect." They posed. They laughed. I stood off to the side in my wedding dress, holding my bouquet, invisible. The photographer looked uncomfortable but said nothing. James stepped beside me. "This is insane," he whispered. I just nodded. I couldn't speak. At dinner, it got worse. Aunt Linda sat across from us, loud enough for half the table to hear. "A teacher for a husband? I mean, that's sweet. But Vanessa's fiancé is a hedge fund manager." My father laughed. "Natalie's always been the modest one. We can't all aim high." Some of the guests looked down at their plates. No one said anything. No one defended me. James's jaw clenched, but I squeezed his hand under the table. "Not yet." Then Vanessa appeared at my side. "Hey, Nat, can I ask you something?" I turned to her, trying to smile. "Since you're not using the venue much longer, can I do a photo shoot here for my engagement announcement? The decor is actually cute." I stared at her. She wasn't joking. My mother appeared behind her. "It would be a shame to waste it, honey. You're done with photos anyway, right?" Something inside me cracked. I felt James's hand tighten around mine. "You don't owe them anything," he whispered. "Not today, not ever." I took a breath. I excused myself and walked to the bridal suite. I sat down on the small couch, hands shaking. My phone buzzed. An email notification. I opened it. A soft smile crossed my face. Because what they didn't know was this. For 3 years, I'd been building something, an app called Pennywise, a budgeting tool for people who wanted to take control of their money without all the confusing jargon. I built it nights and weekends, alone in my apartment, while Vanessa posted selfies and my parents celebrated her every move. I soft-launched it a year ago. It grew slowly. Steady users, good reviews. Then 2 months before my wedding, I got an email from a tech company. They wanted to acquire it. The offer was $1.2 million. I signed the deal 1 week before I walked down the aisle. I didn't tell anyone, not my parents, not Vanessa, not even James until the ink was dry. I wanted one day, just one, where love mattered more than money. I wanted to see if my family would show up for me, not for what I'd built, not for what I could give them, just for me. The answer hurt, but it also set me free. The paperwork was sitting in my bag, right next to my makeup kit, and I was done being invisible. James found me a few minutes later. "You okay?" he asked, sitting beside me. "I've spent my whole life being invisible to them," I said quietly. "I thought today might be different." He pulled me close. "You're not invisible to me, and you don't need their approval. You never did." He kissed my forehead. Then he smiled. "You've already won. You just haven't told them yet." I nodded. I stood up, grabbed the folder from my bag, and took a deep breath. "You ready?" James asked. "Let's do this." We walked back into the reception. My family was gathered at a long table near the center of the room, toasting Vanessa again. I heard Aunt Linda's voice as we approached. "Poor Natalie, she'll always be in Vanessa's shadow." My mother sighed. "She's fine with it. She's not ambitious like her sister." I stopped walking. James looked at me. Then my father's voice rose above the rest. He was talking to one of the guests. "Natalie's a sweet girl, but she's never really done anything impressive. Not like Vanessa." Something inside me snapped. James saw it in my eyes. "You ready?" I nodded. I walked up to the table, folder in hand. "Can I have everyone's attention for a second?" My mother barely looked up. "Natalie, we're in the middle of something." "This won't take long," I said calmly. "I just wanted to share some news." Vanessa rolled her eyes. "What is it?" I smiled. "You've all spent today talking about Vanessa's brand deals and her fiancé's job. That's great. I'm happy for her." I paused. "But I thought you might want to know about my news too." I opened the folder. I pulled out the acquisition contract and set it on the table. 3 years ago, I built an app. Last month, it was acquired by a tech company for $1.2 million. Silence. Complete, total silence. Uncle Rich's mouth fell open. Wait, what? You're joking. I'm not, I said. Here's the signed contract. My lawyer finalized it last week. Vanessa's face went pale. Why didn't you tell anyone? I looked her in the eye. Because I wanted to see if any of you would show up for me, not for what I could give you. My father tried to stand, tried to smile. Natalie, that's incredible. We always knew you were capable. I cut him off. No, you didn't. You called me boring, modest, unsexy. My mother reached for my hand. We didn't mean it like that. You meant every word, I said. And you've made it clear today that I don't matter to you unless I'm useful. I picked up the folder. I looked at Vanessa. Enjoy your engagement photos. I hope they get a lot of likes. But I'm done pretending your approval means anything to me. I turned and walked away. James followed. Behind me, I heard nothing but stunned silence. A few guests had overheard. They were staring. My family sat frozen, embarrassed, speechless. James and I left the reception early. We drove to a quiet overlook just outside the city, still in our wedding clothes. I sat on the hood of the car and finally exhaled. For the first time all day, I felt light. The next morning, my parents started calling, awkward voicemails asking if we could talk. Vanessa sent a text. You didn't have to embarrass us like that. I didn't respond. I didn't owe them anything. Not an explanation, not an apology, not my success. For years, I thought I needed their validation. I planned the perfect wedding, hoping they'd finally see me, but their silence didn't hurt me anymore. It freed me. I finally understood. I never needed their approval. I just needed my own. James and I used part of the money to travel. We invested the rest. I blocked the family members who couldn't be happy for me and kept minimal contact with the others. I focused on the people who'd valued me all along, and I never looked back. If you've ever had to stand up to family betrayal, hit subscribe and tell me your story. Where are you watching from? Drop it below. I always check. And if you've ever been the invisible one in your family, know this. Your worth isn't measured by their attention. You're not alone. Share your experience in the comments. Your story deserves to be heard. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one.